Ain't this a America's heroes who fought in our wars, outside sweating their off, battling all kinds of ailments, while these sit in the air conditioning, walled off from any of it.
And John, I want to thank you again. I wanted to come up and hang out in the Capitol steps. The Secret Service said I would be a pain in the neck. They wouldn't let me do it. So at least we did a little video on there. But what you've done, John, matters. And you know it does. You should know. It really, really matters. You refuse to let anybody forget. Refuse to let them forget. And we owe you big, man. We owe you big.
And there's a video on the Senate floor that is despicable.
Okay, I'll reach out to Cruz to see what he has to say about that. Here's what.
Mr. Daines, no.
And he's pretending that this is some new thing that the Democrats pulled out, stuck into the bill, and snuck it past one Ted Cruz.
The issue here is the Democrats included in this bill an accounting gimmick where they took $400 billion of spending, discretionary spending, they shifted it to mandatory spending.
And you know who voted for that? Ted Cruz and every other one of those Republicans that switched their votes.
It's not really about veteran spending. It's about what category of government bookkeeping they put the veteran spending in.
There is nothing in the bill that is not related to veteran spending. Read it. It's at congress.gov. This is for veterans who suffered health effects from being exposed to burn pits and other toxins. That is it. Senate's where accountability goes to die. These people don't care. They're never losing their jobs. They're never losing their health care. Pat Toomey didn't lose his job. He's walking away. God knows what kind of pot of gold he's stepping into. Boy, they haven't met a war they won't sign up for, and they haven't met a veteran they won't screw over. What the are we? Patriot Pat Toomey stood on the floor and said, this is a slush fund. They're going to use $400 billion to spend on whatever they want.
There is a mechanism created in this bill. It's a budgetary gimmick that has the intent of making it possible to have a huge explosion in unrelated spending, $400 billion.
That's nonsense. I call bull. This isn't a slush fund. You know what's a slush fund? The OCO, the Overseas Contingency Operations Fund, $60 billion, $70 billion every year on top of $500 billion, $600 billion, $700 billion of a defense budget. That's a slush fund, unaccountable, no guardrails. Did Pat Toomey stand up and say, this is irresponsible, the guardrails? No, not one of them did. They vote for it year after year after year. You don't support the troops, you support the war machine.